Good afternoon, good evening, I always forget which one to use. But anyways, good evening. Welcome to another cast of VRML Breachers. Today we'll be having an exciting game between the Egoists and Realm 1 NA here. My name is Martini, and of course, I have Ashimi Marui in the casting booth with me. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, doing pretty good. A little bit of a last-minute pickup on casting, but I want to see some Breachers today.
You know, I was like, I want to pick up the cast today. I know there's already a cast a little bit later. So in an hour, if you're still available, check out the cast. I believe what teams are going to be going head-to-head. It's going to be Valiance and Ritual. Definitely a high-hyped cast going on later today here. Looks like they are getting set up pretty soon here. We have all 10 of the players in the server. We'll get started relatively soon here in a second. But anyways, before we go any forward, I wanted to shout out to one of my personal favorite sponsors, Triangle Factory, for providing us with the game we love, and of course for supporting season 4 of VRML, and HyperX for offering some great products like the high quality HyperX Quadcast S, and for providing some great peripherals for computers. And of course, if you have not been paying attention, don't forget VRML Con 2025 has been confirmed for Phoenix, Arizona. So if you'd like to meet all of us in person or join any of the tournaments, head online to the VRML Con website and make sure to grab your tickets here. But anyways, you know, we have this gold matchup today here, Shimaru. Is there anything you expect to see from the Egoist team or the Realm 1 NA team? Let me pull up the matchup page here and let's check out some of their standings. So Egoist is 3-4. They're a newer team. They've only been around since this season. Realm 1 themselves are 3-3, but they've been around for 2 seasons now. So anything you expect to see from these two teams?
I'm expecting to see a pretty dang good match. We've got some people that have been playing for a long time. Like, for instance, Egoist fields Zeke and Impala, who are older players. Shogun, I believe, is as well an older player. Some of the names over on Realm 1 I'm not quite as familiar with, but like Demon J and I believe Sleepy Fox as well are people that I have seen around before. So I'm ready to see some good matchups. See some people that I haven't had a chance to see in a while play.
I definitely am excited to see them match up here too. Anyways, looks like I did tell them to get the go-ahead there, get ready to get started here. We'll be starting on a ship today, so heads up, they did ban Hideout and Arctic. I mean, how do you feel about those bans? Kind of interesting, right? One newer and one of the original 3 maps.
I'm so glad that Hideout is banned. I'm a little sad to not have Arctic in the mix, but it's another map that has seen a lot of attention this season.
Yeah, definitely a lot of love, I think, for the newer maps, right? With the rework on Ship, the rework on Arctic, it has been played, I think, so much in the last, like, 2 seasons now. And on top of that, we're seeing Dam consistently come out here. And Hideout obviously is a fan favorite, been around since the beginning, but dare I say, I feel like the original maps just quite don't get played as much anymore. I saw someone in the chat, you know, talk about this, where it feels like because they have been around for so long, they feel kind of tried and true at this point. You don't see as much interesting plays versus something like Ship, right, or something like Arctic, where they have had some shakeups, so they're still being kind of decided, I guess, in terms of ability. And there's still some surprises, right? Some teams come out with some great surprises. Some prize plays, one of them being Ritual. I saw this great hatch play that, you know, I'm a hater of hatch plays, but it works on Arctic.
Yeah, and with those older maps, it's that typical thing of, okay, the map's been played so much, it is figured out, it is known. But because there's variants on, especially Dam, that's probably where we're seeing a lot of Dam, is because it's one that nobody really wanted to pick the last season. And this season, nobody wants to pick Maul because it's still too new. We're getting to see some people actually put some thought into it, get some new strats. People have gotten to practice a full off-season and season on it. And I don't know, I just personally enjoy seeing the newer maps versus the ones we have seen all the way from Season 0. We do see this wall getting ready. We see both walls going. Splash gets one. Shogun kills down, or takes down, don't forget. D-Moon and Splash take 2 more. And it is down to 1 person left. Zeke, can he hold it off? No, he cannot.
Yeah, that is a rough start there. I don't know if you saw, Realm 1 NA had a great entrance coming in. And at that point, I think it was down to 1 or 2 players that got knocked out so fast there. And Zeke getting knocked out in the very end. Talk about heartbreaking as you see your whole team get killed right in front of your eyes, and you're being shot at by 3 or 4 different players here. Definitely kind of rough to see what's going on, but doesn't mean they can't come back, right? It's only round 1. It's only map 1, right? We have a full series. It's a best of 3 series. And again, that means best of 3, so they can play all 3 maps. But if one team can win in the first 2, we'll be going home a little early today. But right now, Realm 1 NA, already off to a good start here. And just a reminder, checking out the community votes, it's pretty tight. I think it's like 6-5 or 5-4, something like that, between these teams. So very tight between these 2 teams. No one in the community really expecting one or the other to win or lose. So no one's really the underdog here. I'm kind of curious to see, how this pans out. Because again, this is a gold matchup. We're 5 weeks into the season too, so the MMR is a lot better, I think, and more reliable in its rating system. So I'm hoping this is a close matchup.
Yeah, as we get into that mid-season, we start getting the actual real story on where people are. And of course, that goes up and down depending on how a team improves or how a team falls behind. But we see this beginning poke onto the B side from Realm 1 as they try and figure out where a couple people are. Looks like oh, excuse me. Revolters are holding up a little bit, but we have 2 trade-outs. Don't forget, getting a double as Musty and D-Moon go down. We're in 3-3 right now. A little bit of damage done to both teams. Quite a stalemate as they try to figure out how to get in this building safely.
Yeah, and it looks like the Egoist players, they had a great entrance. A couple, I think 1 2K there. Players, but they did have to pick up that EP in the back there. Did unfortunately get dropped down. A lot of good damage to the wall here. Not quite ending, but knocking out that roamer on the back there. Now only 2 players on the site for Egoist. They're gonna have to hold out here. Oh, the breach comes out. Zeke somehow survives that, and the incendiary shuts out some of the rotation angles here. Looks like we might be seeing an EMP plant pretty soon here from Shadow. No, they decided to play another spot instead, as don't forget they're picked off by Avalon there, and it looks like Shadow going in for the swing, gets picked up by Zeke, and that's a swing. I don't know if I would have made that one, but Splash still the end here, trying to survive. Shots out here going, but it doesn't matter. Avalon able to finish that one out there, and that's going to be a great ending for the Egoists there. I think it was a solid start from Realm 1 NA, but what did you see?
So it came down to that plan. Just people got too greedy. They wanted to try and finish that out. Zeke and Avalon sitting in the back. They did have good cover, and we just kept seeing people from Realm 1 swinging, especially the planter. Instead of backing off and getting a good crossfire with his teammate, he decided he was going to push up and try and end it early, just walking right into the barrel of a gun.
I know. I saw the swing through smoke. That's always kind of a big risk, right? I think with them having the advantage, I don't know if I would have gone for that swing, right? You knew where one player was, but you don't know where the second one is, and that's just so 50-50, especially when you're coming out of the smoke, right? When you come out of the smoke, your vision's so obscured. It's a little challenging sometimes, and I was kind of shocked they went for that swing, but hey, mistakes were made there, and it did cost Realm 1 NA, that win there. I think that was totally a salvageable win, and it still was the 2-2, I think, off the plant. So it was very close there in the end, but we'll see if Egoists can keep this going. I think they're just kind of losing a lot of these 1v1s, right? We're seeing them consistently getting picked off by Realm 1 NA, and I think that's what it's coming down to right now, just that difference in skills and in gun mechanics.
I'd actually disagree. I think they're pretty even on gun mechanics. Their first round, the problem being is that they turtled into sight and gave all the room for round 1 to be able to set up and then execute right on top of them. Last round, they held a lot more off. Able to gain intel, able to cause entry, get early picks. Splash getting a pick of his own with that nade. Looks like, though, Egoists are playing a little bit more off-site, trying to get more intel, trying to get early picks. And Shogun gets that first pick, takes a second down. Shadow trying to recover what he can before entering in. Musty and Shadow go for it, catching Shogun out. Looks like Mabisio is going to try and get one. Zeke gets that kill with the frag, though, instead.
Yeah, definitely tough. I mean, look at this utility use. If you look at the placement by the Egoists, able to really hold down and lock down Normally what I think is a very contentious area for this side push on the B here. They lost so many players in there, right? There's only 2 players now in this 2v3. And with Egoists with the advantage here, they're looking really good right now, but they are getting ready for the breach here pretty soon, as Musty is going to be pushing the B side relatively here as they're going for that deep frag there. Is it able to connect with anyone? No, is Zeke able to dodge that one? And it looks like Splash goes for the swing, gets out Simpleton. Now only in his 2v2, Mephisto on the back and gets picked by Splash now. And that is unfortunate for that push there as Zeke trying to hold their own and survive here. Able to dodge, gets the 1 pick there on Musty, tries to go in for Splash.
Oh, man.
But they're going in, they're sticking it. Splash gets another pick there. And talk about MVP that round. Was it Splash, right, that got the 3K in the end there?
Yeah, Splash got a 3K at that end. He swung the door, got the first one. Really good read on that one, catching Sam in the corner. And then catching the person on vent, getting a second, finally finishing out that last person alive for round 1. Good job on that 1v or on that clutch situation.
Talk about round gone wrong, right? We saw Egoists have such a strong start there. They had, what is it, 3K, I believe. Really giving them the advantage into the later part of that round. But, I mean, what did you see from round 1 NA? They really stuck it in the end. Talk about some standout players here, right?
Yeah, they knew, at least for the 2 that stayed alive, they knew when to back off. A couple of people just kept charging in trying to get kills, and it costed them. But the last 2 that were alive were able to kind of just back off, understand where their enemies were, and then deal with them accordingly. Especially Splash being able to do those reads on, okay, this is probably a likely spot somebody's going to sit next to the corner of the blown wall, and then I need to watch my back for the flank. They played off of intel in likely spots a lot more effectively near the middle there.
Yeah, such a good start. Already a chaotic start here to this round. So much shots going out here. Looks like no chip damage has been traded though, so probably just getting some blind fires here, hoping for the best. As Egoists just holding their positions here. Again, they play a little bit aggressive of this defense. See, Avalon, Mabby, and Shogun playing very deep. They're a little bit extended from their sides here, playing aggressive. Let's see if this aggression does pay off here. As Rum 1 still has an entered side. No, don't forget, YouTube picks up Shogun in the back end there, and that's going to be a rough start for them. But they still have the 2-player game deep here. Never mind, Mabby gets a shot off on the back end there on D Moonjay. And it's now just to Avalon. Can they get these picks here in this side? They get the swing, pick it over there. It's a 1K. They can't stick. The second, unfortunately, Splash gets a 2K again. And now it's a 3v2 for the round 1 players.
We do see Seek and Sam sitting in that same spot on B side. Maybe they can make some magic work on that again. This is a repeat of the situation. So 3v2, one of those 2 being Zeke alive, as we see Egoists go in for the plant. Will they learn from their mistake last time and not swing so hard? Splash does find one, and it is Zeke alone. They do not need to swing. Looks like YouTube is going to push up, though. He wants that kill. Zeke finding some damage. Not quite able to finish off the kill, neither of them. And Zeke charges in, gets the first kill of 3. Can he get the other 2, though? He is on so much, or so little health. 16 left.
You know, you made the call earlier that the round 1 players should not play that, and I think you're totally right. They played it. They didn't have to, and unfortunately they did take a loss for that. And it's something to remember, you know, when you're playing at a higher and higher level, economy is also a big thing to kind of manage and worry about. You don't need to throw lives away, especially when you're stuck to plant and you have a 3-1 advantage here. There's really no reason to take those rough situations and lose a Vezin, right? Potentially that's going to impact your economy. And even though they are winning right now, it's another round in the pocket for round 1 NA. That does matter when you have a close game, right? You don't want to lose out because you played a bad economy decision in an earlier round a couple rounds ago, right? But great round from round 1 in the end.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a rough start, some rough trade outs, but they were able to play off of each other, get refrags, and move their way in. 2 of them not pushing in too hard. YouTube deciding to kind of just throw away his life. Granted, they put enough damage onto Zeke that he did back off, save that Vezin, as opposed to trying to finish out. Sure, you have a Vezin, but 16 health is not the position you want to be in. You are dead to any gun almost at that point.
Yeah, let me pull up the scoreboard here. Where we saw Splash play so good the last couple rounds here. I mean, let's check out this. Am I blind? I can't see.
He is 10-1 right now.
10-1. I don't know why my scoreboard is not pulling up Splash for Summer D-Moon. Forget Shadow Musty. That's weird. Did he cut it off? Anyways, what was the score again? Let's look out here. Splash 10-1. That is, talk about stand-up performance here. Anyways, I'm looking at this scoreboard a little too long here. As this round again is already off to a chaotic start here with so many shots traded, but not much chip damage, except for it looks like someone from the Realm 1 side got a single damage. I didn't even know that was possible. And they are started here.
Oh, excellent swing from Mobby. Looks like they are turtling up in sight again, making the same mistake they did the first round, but they're actually recovering from it a little bit better. Mobby getting that early pick is really going to help them. And Mobby ego swinging to find his second. The remainder of Ego is staying within cover so that they aren't overexposed. Shadow on 1 health. He's going to die to that nade. Oh, no. Splash accidentally TKs Shadow. That is an unfortunate bounce off of geometry. 2v5. Can Realm 1 pull this round off?
Saw Splash stand out, but Zeke is definitely the standout. They're getting a 3K, if I had seen that correctly. Let me see if I can get that replay. That was an unfortunate situation made worse here. As the Realm 1 NA player, I think someone sends it in that frag and accidentally knocks out Shadow with that TK there. And, you know, that was just a rough round. I think Realm 1 just couldn't really get their footing there, as they kind of kept losing players one after another.
No, I think Mobby remembered the first round on how they let Egoists have too much control of the map,
right?
And it really screwed them in the end. So he decided he was going to take it upon himself, get a couple early picks, and get ready to push that, or get one early pick and then push that wall the moment it went out, to ensure that they don't have two angles that they have to worry about. Definitely Mobby making that play happen for Egoists and keeping them alive in that round. After that, it was just cleanup time from Zeke.
I mean, I love this. It's back and forth already, right? We're only map 1. It's 2 and 3. This is gonna be kind of the first half decider, I guess. I'm kind of curious to see which team does come out here. Checking out the economy, they look relatively even here, so this is a pretty solid trade. Again, last time they came here, Realm 1 struggled to get into this first room here, as the Egoists is just shutting it down. And that's a beautiful trip minus. Choking gets a pick on the back there. Talk about beautiful 2K from two sides of the map here. The D-Moon already starting off on the other side here.
Nice utility placement and a good anti-entry from Shogun. Unfortunately, he was not able to grab any more, but he did set up his team for a good, solid start. Looks like Don't Forget and D-Moon are trying to find their way into Gen. Can't quite do it yet. Okay, D-Moon sets off that prox, gets rid of it, but Sam is ready to catch them off guard.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if Sam's going to swing the trap here, or we're going to be seeing something else happening a little bit sooner here. As it looks like there's a pretty wide attack coming out from the Realm 1 players. One of them on one side of B, one on the other. So two sets of players here, but again, you called it out earlier. Sam is waiting for them to make this breach. They're going to wait for some action here, and this is going to be, I think, perfect timing if they can swing this at the right moment. They go for the swing, get the one pick on Don't Forget. Now down to just D-Moon. They go for the frag. Unfortunately, bad understanding where they were. Mobby goes for the swing, picks up D-Moon somehow there. I don't know how they did that one. And now comes down to just Musty on the back end here. Can they salvage a round that has never really gotten good footing, as every player kept dying one by one here? And it looks like the rest of the team fully aware of what Musty's doing. They can't save here. It's the last round before the half. They got to stick this one.
That was an interesting little play off of the vent from Mobby. Just D-Moon was not ready for somebody to manifest right there through it. But excellent round again from Egoists, managing to keep most of their players alive and finish out strong, pushing them into 3-3 on round or side swap.
And tied. Would you rather be the defending team or attacking team in this game right now?
It's split. I mean, it comes down to, I think that Egoists is adapting a little bit more. Personally, I like attack a little bit more on ship than I like defense. I just always enjoyed attack a little bit more in general, but yeah. Egoists are set up for a solid attack with that 3 rounds already in the pocket. Will they take it all the way? Who knows? But they've been adapting a lot. They've been adapting a lot quicker than Realm 1 has.
I mean, Run 1 did come in with a couple good early rounds there. It hasn't really been sticking the last couple ones, so I don't want to count them out yet, right? They're defending, and there's always some slight advantage to defending. Even though I definitely, I agree with the idea that this is a little bit more even of a side of things, especially with that rework. That was kind of what they were going for here. So it really depends on how Egoist decides to attack the side here. Don't forget, already picking up a player there. Goes in for the frag. Doesn't stick any damage. No, it doesn't, unfortunately. But that is an EMP down, which is going to be a great, great deal for the Realm 1 defenders.
It looks like Realm 1 has figured out that they have EMP, and they're just going to hold that, sponge it with people. Shadow picking up one, Splash picking the second. Musty on the lurk, catches one, but Zeke gets the refrag. Don't forget, pushing up, looking to see if he can get Zeke. No, he does not. Zeke alone in this 1v3. Actually doable with Shadow down to 34 and a little bit of damage done to D-Moon. Is he going to stick it, or is he going to look to save?
I mean, it's the Cyclone. I don't know if it's really worth saving at this point. Might be one of those sender rounds, especially with 100 health in hand. You'd call it out. 100 health in hand. We know there's damage on the other side. But the problem here is they have to retake the EMP, which makes everything so much more complicated here for the Egoists. But you know, we've seen Zeke play so well already. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I think the players are aware that someone is coming around here as they are spreading the players out. You know, finally here. Will he be able to catch someone off? Looks like Shadow is aware someone's at. Oh, and unfortunately the sound cues give them away here. That's gonna be a big pick there from Realm 1.
Yeah, I mean that is a hard position to be in, being in that 1v3. But like you said, we have seen Zeke pull out some really good plays before. Just wasn't able to get it at that time. In that situation where the EMP's down and they've got it taken care of, it's better to just go for the kills and try and finish out the round via kills. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that Realm 1 figured out, okay, he's going to flank around, and they just spread out and caught him off guard.
Yeah, I mean, that was a rough start for Egoists. They came in, I believe, on that third floor, tried to go down the staircase, and talk about shutdown, right? Realm 1, who was that? Don't forget YouTube. Looks like they were just holding down and creating a death funnel, I think, for the Egoist players, right? They just could not come down the staircase, and they're just getting picked out one by one eventually. It was tough for Egoist, I think, to even get started again in that round.
Yeah, and of course, I, at the beginning of the round, said they were in a solid position to do so in that round, but it looks like Realm 1 is going to play a very aggressive counter entry for this side. Maybe not so much this specific floor, as it looks like they're going to mostly turtle into sight, but let's see if they can carry that momentum, maybe grab themselves the map.
Yeah, looks like D-Moon J already trying to shut off any potential pushes there. Throw the incendiary, I think a little too close, but it does deny them at least early entry for now, as the Realm 1 NA players are really trying to draw out the defense as long as possible, because it's already been 30 seconds in the round here, and the Egoists are trying to figure out how to get started on this push, but so much blind fire coming out from the Realm 1 side.
Nice pickup from Shadow, able to take out Mobby, who's been a pretty solid player for Egoist so far. D-Moon finds a second onto Shogun as Shadow retreats down to that minuscule amount of health. Avalon ready to blow the wall. Looks like Sam and Zeke have not gotten foam onto that side yet. Are we going to see just one wall open, or are we going to launch them below both? First wall goes out onto the side, still 5 up for Realm 1. Egoist seeing if they can grab any early picks inside that site to help them shut it down. First one goes down by Zeke. We see them still fishing around to try and find more people.
Yeah, here's a problem though. Egoists, regardless of how well this push works, they don't have the EMP. I don't know if they forgot or someone hasn't told them yet, but they do have the EMP down, unfortunately. I'm not sure if Shadow's aware that the EMP is over there, because that would be perfect for them. But oh, don't forget, it's a pick up there, and D-Moon unfortunately was about to get one, but they did not react fast enough. It looks like Shadow's on the back, and they're waiting for the EMP plant. And this is dangerous, right? The wall's wide open. Never mind, they go for the swing. Avalon decides to send it, and Shadow does get picked up in the end there, but Musty aware of what's going on, and unfortunately, Simpleton gets knocked out on the end. It's going to be the 1v2 here. They got to make some kind of movement. That door blocker is preventing them from making any movements right now, but I'm wondering, are they kind of trapped right now from the Realm 1 players?
he's not in an easy position, that's for sure. Looks like these Run 1 players are going to fan out a bit. And, oh, that gives Avalon his chance to get the EMP down. We see the immediate rotation. He finds damage onto Don't Forget. Not quite able to finish out the kill, but they are spreading out, and they're looking to just around and take. Avalon finding his first. Can he find the second, though? Down to a 1v1, low health. Avalon finishes it out. Nicely done, using the chair as cover to try and bait out Musty. Well done.
Oh my God, that is a I don't know what a clutch if that is not one, because that was clutch for sure. 2K in the end, able to stick it somehow. I think I'm so shocked. I don't know what was going on, because I thought the Rub 1 players knew they were already in that hallway. They saw the door blocker there. I don't know what was going on in the Rub 1 players. I'm surprised no one waited around that hallway to maybe pinch into or attack the Egoist player. I'm kind of shocked they had pulled so far back into sight onto the other side. Dude, maybe they don't have perfect, maybe their knowledge of that hallway on its shape and what it looks like isn't as well as I thought, because there's nowhere else they could have gone.
They could have rotated around to B site, and I think that's exactly what they thought was happening. Was they thought that Avalon had grabbed the EMP and made his way over to B and was going to plant there. So they went to cut off.
Door blocker.
I don't think they knew the door blocker was still up.
Oh man! I thought they
you can hear it. Yeah, you can hear it, and unless you have somebody in Death Spectator checking that thing and pinging it to let you know it's still up, it's not guaranteed that you know whether it's up or not.
That is true. I mean, that gave Egoists the opening, though. That was exactly what they needed. And talk about capitalizing, and talk about clutch, because you're right. They knew how to dance and weave around that chair and survive. This is an aggressive defense, by the way. 1, 2, 3 deep roamers from the Run 1 players. I'm not sure. This is a very, very risky play. It's got to work out well.
Ooh, Don't Forget picks up one. It looks like Mobby is going to come down the stairs. Don't Forget finds a second one onto Zeke. Can Mobby recover this? He's going to run into 3 people. Oh, Musty responds as Mobby gets that first one. He gets a second. Mobby taking control, pushing Don't Forget and Splash down to a 2. And now it is a 2v2 as Don't Forget manages to grab Mobby and take him out.
Yeah, this is the problem inherently with playing so deep on the defenders. It allows one of these sites to be wide open, and Ego is able to stick it and come in here, and they have to retake. Don't Forget swings, and talk about perfect as it now comes down to stand. They go for the swing. They pick it up now in a 1v1 here with Splash. And I don't know. This is going to be coming down to timing here. We've seen Splash do so well against the Egoist players. But can they stick it? No, they can't, as Simpleton Sam sticks that one here. And, I mean, so many great plays, I think, coming out from both sides in this previous round. Let me see if I can pull up one of the replays here. This was, I believe, when they were in that hallway upon that first entrance, right? We saw, Don't Forget, get that pick, throw in the deep frag. I didn't catch it on the cam there, but throw in the deep frag, get the pick, and talk about, you know, clutch play. But unfortunately, that wasn't enough for Run 1 NA to win that one out. No,
not quite enough. I mean, it is a story as old as time. The Vezin always wins against the Viper when the gun skill and the knowledge of each player are equal. They both knew where each other were. It's just a matter of 1 headshot versus 2.
It's so tight too. I mean, 5 and 4. It's going back to back here, and I'm loving it. I love seeing a close matchup, regardless of where we are on the ladder here, and that's why I love picking up any game. Because we were just talking about this in the pre-show, Jimmy. You know, you never know what you're gonna get depending on whatever skill level you pick up as a cast here, right? And funny enough, I think someone on the Egoist side, they have been bothering me on TikTok for 20 days straight to cast their game, and I said, you know what? Why not? Why not pick them up and see what I can do here? So shout out, I think it's Twisted. I'm not sure if you're in the chat here. I did pick up this game, and I'm not gonna lie, I saw Egoist. I'm like, you know what? Why not?
That drone is gonna find Shadow though. Shadow backing off. Mobby catching Splash. Shadow catching Mobby, but Avalon getting the refrag. A little bit of an unclean defense as Avalon has made his way up to the hatch.
Yeah, getting aggressive defense. Oh, as Shogun tries to throw the Incendiary. Unfortunately, too late here as D-Moon picks him up there. And that's going to be a great way to really zone off that area. But I don't know. Again, Realm 1 plays so deep on that roaming. I think it was 1 or 2 roamers again even after losing the last game here. Do you think they're playing too aggressive with their roamers?
I think they're being risky. It's possible to work, but because Egoists has kind of figured out that's what they're doing, they're being a lot more careful, finding those roamers and taking them out early. You're watching them actually target those roamers with drones and with off deep entries. But we do see them being a little bit more cautious as they get into this area, knowing there are still 3 up there in a 3-3. We see a little bit of attention going towards the bathroom hallway as the wall gets ready to be blown. We see one more rotating up. Avalon is probably going to go utilize that hatch and drop in. Will he be able to win the gunfight against Demon and Musty, though, once he goes out?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm always so iffy about these jump hatches. They decide to play. They go for the swing. Get the 1K. Go for the second. Can they get it? No. Don't forget on the back end, though, as they come in for the pinch and push. There's D-Moon does knock out Avalon. And that is not going to work out for them as D-Moon gets a second pick there.
Oh.
And talk about round gone wrong there. And this is what I'm saying. You know, would it have been better if the Egoist roamer there just had played with the rest of their team, right? Was the jump hatch enough? Was it worth it for the risk?
The jump hatch, I think, was worth it. The problem being is that he didn't have the support coming in from his other team. One of them died to the roamer and then was too busy with that. He needs if you're going to do a jump hatch like that as 1 or 2 people, you need to have a secondary force helping you, because you're inserting yourself straight into a man deficit when you jump down. You will always be in a 1v something. And that's just how it worked out. He did get his first pick, but he didn't have anybody help him to get that second pick.
Yeah, definitely challenging, I think, for the jumper there. And again, this is why I say don't do jump hatches unless you know exactly what you're doing. Because I think, again, the only team I have seen consistently, I'll say that consistently play jump hatches recently is Ritual. I've seen them play it, time and time again on Arctic, and they did exactly what you're talking about, Shimi. They have kind of this pinching force on the other side of the people on the same floor, and they kind of both push into the same exact side from different angles. And I think it's the only time it works. You're right. They need a supporter. They need someone to actually help them out. Otherwise, you're right. They're going directly into sight by themselves in a 1v3, 1v4 situation. It's a little hard.
Yeah, it's not the most amazing position to be in, but I mean, if you're gutsy enough, you can make it work. You just have to have the backup from your teammates in time. We do see entries coming to the building. Looks like we are going to see another B site play as all of these Egoist players get set up. Wall is foam, but they are spread out, trying to deal with some of these wall bangs. Nothing found yet, though.
All 4 players in on this hallway. Always don't forget, does the bonfire work out perfectly for them? And they pick up a second one there, but Zeke's able to come in and shut that one down. Shadow picking up on the back end here. You know, it's a 2v4 situation. Now we'll remind it's a 1v4 situation as Zeke is now having to be left to their own devices, but they pick up Shadow in the end there. It's still a 1v2. Is this going to be challenging a wind down right now for the Egoists here? Can they stick this one? It's about a minute left in the round. They can pick up in a syringe, I think, and re-engage here. But, I mean, you're talking about a fully ready force on the Realm 1 side. They have 2 syringes in hand, a Vezin and an RCP. I'm surprised they didn't pick up, a Vezin in all that chaos there. But this will be coming to a head here. There's a 1 minute left in the round here. Seeing some love in the chat for Shimi. As people were asking for some trial rolls. You might have seen that before.
Again.
And yeah, shout out to Hotline there. We are looking at the chat today. Keep it in. Oh, and Chumbe was in the chat. Shout out to Chumbe, of course, here. But 40 seconds. What do you think Zeke should do? Go for B? Go for A?
I think he's got to save right now. No, I take it back. He's got his opportunity to push that sidewall. And they have no idea. They didn't hear the wall blow. Zeke has his chance to plant. He's going to bait out the first one. Musty gets right into that gunfire and gets his head taken off. But D-Moon is able to take the refrag during the plant. Man, that was a close one for Zeke. He could have done it, but it's one of those crappy situations. Personally, I think it would have been better to keep that Marui for the next round, because their economy is rough. Their economy is not great right now.
Yeah, and this was something we had talked about, I think, one of the earlier rounds, right, is worrying about economy in terms of bodies. Right, every time you die, you're losing that gun, and it costs your team that much more money to get another one of those guns for your team. And you're right, looking at the Egoist side, we're only seeing two buys. Sorry, two buys. They could theoretically have a third buy here against Realm 1, unfortunately. But it's just not enough here. It's going to be challenging sorry, Egoist. Realm 1 looking really good on the other hand. I mean, we're seeing full buys here, good amount of utility here. This is definitely going to be an economy disadvantaged round for the Egoist players. I'm wondering, can they stick it here? Can they make it work out against all odds and force us into an overtime? You know, because again, reminder to everyone, this season we do have overtime here. We used to not do overtime. We used to just finish off at 6-6. But if two teams get to 6-6 now, we do play into an overtime round per Creatures rules.
We will see if they can actually make these orals that they've been forced to buy work. Actually, I take that back. We only have, is that one oral? I'm a little bit cut off. And Mobby goes down. Does pick up that Vezin though from Mobby. 4v5, but Splash is hurt, had to back off Stim, and looks like he's rotating around. The rest of the rest of Realm 1 is more or less turtled in that site. So if they can take out Splash, get rid of him, that gives them a good chance. However, looks like they're still trying to assess their options, trying to figure out what they need to do, as we see two people enter into Armory. Zeke deciding to change his mind and go over. Are we going to see a B rotate? We are. As the majority rotates over, looks like one person trailing behind. Shogun not quite there. Musty ready for this wall to go out as a bunch of pre-fire gets sent through the walls.
Splash in the back end there. Oh, and the floor is lava here as so many utility is sent in there. Looks like Shadow does pick the player, but Sam goes in for the refrag here. No, they get picked up by another. Splash trying to go for the swing. It does get the pick there. Now come down to just Zeke. Where are they? I can't find him. Zeke here. Now in a 1v4 situation. Oh, they exposed themselves. Got the 1K. Can they get the second? As no one followed up on that reload. I don't know if they heard that. But it's still a 1v3. Trying to pick up D-Moonjay. Pick up. Oh, Musty! Oh, no! They accidentally TK'd their own team there. And that is going to give Zeke a little bit easier of a round here. And I'm wondering, where is the EMP? It's actually a little bit off to the side there. So they do have to retrieve that too. So it looks like they have to do this 1v2. I don't know if it's going to work out because Splash has been a thorn in the side of the Egoist players and has been consistently getting those picks.
He is in a 1v2 with one person lower health. That Stim not quite recharged yet. He has a chance, however. Splash is sitting on that hatch and is able to find the pick and finish this out for Realm 1. 7-5, close map, great plays. Realm 1 just edges it out a little bit better.
You know, I wanted to see the overtime, man. It was so close there. You know, we had seen so many clutches coming out from the Egoist players. When it really comes down to it, unfortunately, it didn't quite develop like that at the very end there. But doesn't mean we can't see something coming up in the upcoming round. But 7-5, talk about really close matchup between these two teams. Before we talk about that, we'll go to a really quick ad break. We'll see y'all in 2 minutes here, all right? All right, we'll talk about the previous round here. Looks like we're going right into a Damn. These teams are not taking a break, going right into it. But you know, that previous round, right, we had seen very interesting plays both sides. I was hoping we could see that overtime in the very end there. Unfortunately, it didn't quite happen. Was there anything you think stuck out to you in that previous round?
Really good positioning and lurking from round 1 on that defense. They were able to whittle down Egoists every single time. I mean, Egoists did have a couple solid rounds, a couple solid pushes, just things kept falling apart for them because there would just be a round 1 player somewhere they didn't expect, and that was game over. But let's see how Damn gets played, because this is a very different map from Ship, a lot less close quartered, very open. It's a little bit harder to lurk on this map, though it is very, very necessary. I feel like the reason it can be harder is just simply because there's so much wide open space.
Yeah, I'm not shocked to see, you know, Damn get picked up again. We talked about this in the previous round. Damn gets picked time and time again here. I'm surprised. And I remember people, this happens every season, right? They had so much smack talk about, damn it, Sleepy already off to a good start. They're picking up a player there, and I think that was a Rub 1 player. They did sub someone in. It looks like I think it was Sleepy Fox. It looks like they're already starting off to a great start here, getting that early pick against the Egoist player here. But again, this is only the beginning. We have the rest of the round to get developed.
We do see that early entry hold from Sleepy and Musty sticking it, but we do have a rotate coming in. One person, Sam, setting up on the stairs, probably going to see if he can get an early pick when that wall blows. Shadow about to walk into Sam. This is going to be an interesting little engagement. It's time for Sam to bring his trap. He gets Shadow down. That second one, D-Moon, is pinched between both the stairs person and Avalon on the wall. Looks like a frag comes out, doesn't quite find anybody. A couple more picks are looking to be fished out before they make their entry, though.
Looks like D-Moon trying to get some shots out here. Does get a little bit of chip damage in the end there. I'm waiting to see when, don't forget, decides to go in for the swing here, because that timing will be crucial in order to get some value from that roaming play here. And about a minute and a half into the round, time is really dragging out right now between these two teams here. I think D-Moon J trying to play very, very tight here. Oh, never mind! As Mabby gets a beautiful, beautiful pick there. Gets a second K in the end there. And that is going to be great for those players, as they only have 2 left. One of them off-site.
Oh, the EMP is stuck. They're going to have to stick the kills, and they do. Mobby picking up his third, and Zeke picking up the last on Don't Forget. That is an unfortunate circumstance. That is some bad luck if I've ever seen it. I hate when the EMP gets stuck and you can't do anything about it.
You know, one of those reminders, be very careful sometimes when you're throwing this stuff around. I've had times, I think we had a game we were playing together. I tried to throw, I think, utility to one of y'all and he got stuck in the corner. And definitely one of those reminders, you just gotta be careful with how you're throwing the utility around, because things like that happen, right? It might flip into geometry in a very funky way. And unfortunately, you know, Triangle Factory, they've done a good job, I think, at trying to cover most use cases, but it's hard for them to test against literally every nook and cranny of the game to make sure it doesn't get stuck in them. And anyways, it doesn't matter, because in the end, Egoists made that round work out just through kills alone. And that was perfect for them, because if Rum 1 had any inkling of what had happened, they would have just sent someone deep in, and it would have been a game of hide and seek at that point, right? Which would be a very interesting way to play Breachers, right? 4 or 5 players trying to find the one person on the map would be a very interesting way of playing out around here. But solid start. I mean, talk about... I didn't get to get the replay, but it was a beautiful, beautiful Taurus coming out there with the 2K there from Mabby.
That was excellently done. Those were some nice headshots. Mobby has been really sticking out so far as a great, great performer on Egoist. We do see a cautious entry. A couple people off-site. Avalon coming from downstairs. Not something you normally see. However, he has met up with Shogun and is getting ready to prod the wall. They see one person. D-Moon immediately backs off. However, Sleepy Fox and Shadow are looking to make their flank happen now. And narrowly missing their chance to grab Shogun, though.
I know, and again, we're seeing this aggressive defense come out there. And so it looks like CB Fox able to pick up the pick. Doesn't matter. Shogun gets another. And we see the 2 Realm 1 players there. Never mind. Sam on the back gets the pick as these 2 go for the swing, and Mappy finishes up here. Now leaving it down to just D-Moon J. Musty has to collapse into sight pretty soon here. D-Moon almost getting another, but Mappy finishes up again. Talk about another pick as Musty now down to their own devices, left to their own devices, picks up Mappy as they come in and try to intercept these 2 players on site here from the Egoists.
Oh, Musty grabs his second. Can he find the last in that 1v1? Sam does have a Viper. However, Musty has just been landing great shots. Does not find it, though. Sam is able to pop out and take Musty's life. And that Oral as well.
You know, we had seen on the previous map, right, that aggressive defense sort of work out in the Realm 1 player's hands, but it's not quite happening this one, right? The last 2 rounds we've seen some deeper roamers. They don't get as much value, and they kind of end up losing those players sooner. And they're not able to do much because now the people on site have a bigger disadvantage to be working against. Do you think Realm 1 again is playing a little too risky with those roamers? We've seen it; they've been playing very deep roaming. I think generally for a team at this level.
The roamers aren't being patient enough, I feel like. Specifically with Dam, because it's so open on the other floors that we've just been on. It pays off to have a little bit of a later roamer that is able to catch them from the back, because otherwise they're going to get seen coming from a mile away. And especially, we saw them when they were over by Model. One person just got too aggressive, swung, got one, but immediately got refragged and completely exposed his partner roamer. Roaming is always this balancing act of, okay, am I too aggressive, too quick, or am I being too patient? Am I being late at this point? We do see the hatch going out, a drone going in, Sam checking for anything before Mobby goes in. We see an extremely long lurk clear from Avalon. He might run into Shadow and catch him by surprise as Shogun and Zeke patiently wait at break room.
You're right. They've been setting, I noticed on Egoists, they've been setting that really deep person. Maybe they're just those roamers, and it pays off as Avalon able to pick out the Shadow. I think, they're aware now that Realm 1 sends roamers. They send deep roamers on top of that, so Egoists able to pick up that round pick a little bit earlier than the others. Now in this 5v4, this would be a great start here. Oh, and Sleepy Fox doesn't check the hatch, unfortunately, or maybe their leg is sticking out there as they do get picked up there. This is going to be a great entrance. There's only 3 players on site at this point.
We do see that wall go out. That man disadvantage really, really hurting Realm 1 right now. All 3 backed up on that single site, trying to keep alive as Util just starts raining into them. Is an Egoist going to be able to get that plant? The Ensign forcing Shogun off, but he manages to stick it and he's going for the plant. D-Moon swings up. Can Sam find him? He has his opportunity, but Shogun goes down. Still, that man advantage kicking in for Egoist.
I'm waiting to see if Sam can pick up a pick, and they do get a kill there. Now coming out to D-Moon J, but unfortunately not much as Mabi has been raining bullets on the Realm 1 players. I mean, I've been saying Mabi a lot, I think, in this last couple rounds here. Let me see if I can pull up.
He is 8-1 right now.
8-1. Oh my goodness. I mean, 8-1. 1 assist there. And talk about just, again, standout performances. I've been seeing that a lot, right, from both teams. 1 or 2 players really stepping up to the plate in that current map here. And Egoists has been on a great win streak, 3 in a row here. And the way they're playing, these rounds don't feel too close. Maybe the first couple were, but that last one felt very definitively like an Egoist win here. And I'm wondering, can we see Realm 1 mix it up, or are they going to be struggling the next couple rounds here? Because, again, they have 3 more rounds in this first half.
I think Realm 1 is just trying to make the thing that they know work, which is having that more aggressive defense, having those alerts, having those roams. But Egoist is just able to adapt and then take care of it. They weren't able to quite finish it out on the last map, but they might be able to give us a good shutout for Dam. Let's see as we go into round 4. Full buys on Egoist side with about a half spread on Realm 1.
Yeah, a full shutout would be crazy, but it does happen. But 6-0, we always say, like, it's just so unlikely because it's so hard. It's so hard to not get 1 round to mess up here. in the end. We might see something pretty soon here. Shadow, aware that something's going on here. A lot of shots coming in here. They go for the swing with the connect, gets the pick, and that is that is almost comedic, to be quite honest. I'm just going to put that and pull it up later. But Shogun waiting for Shadow. The Shadow, no, they're there. Oh, and they just missed it by the skin of their teeth, and Shogun able to get another pick out themselves here. As Sleepy Fox trying to figure out what's going on. Never mind, gets knocked out. Shogun keeps getting these picks here. As it comes down to just 2 players left. Not even on site. 1 player deep, 1 player off site. Never mind. As Musty is now alone to their own devices off site here. And this is what we talk about when we say that sometimes you take too long on a roaming here. Right now they're forced to take a 1v4. And I don't know about you, but I don't know if I would take that as Musty.
No, Musty's got to save. He's got to keep that res. Shogun is going to try and not let him have it, and Shogun wins the gunfight. Ooh, this is not looking good for Realm. Are they going to be able to recover? They need to change whatever they're doing. They're just losing people too early, giving entire run of the map to Egoists. That just every single time they've been Egoists has been able to isolate out ones and just take them.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe this could be a shutout. A 6-0 shutout would be great for Egoists, forcing us into a map 3. You know, that's exactly what they want going on to map 3, having so much momentum. And again, it's not like the first map was a blowout. That was a close matchup between these 2 teams. I'm not sure if maybe the sub coming out from the Realm 1 players isn't working out in the way that they wanted to, or if Egoists just kind of needed that warm up, right? I've seen that a lot from these teams, right? Sometimes they just need that one map warm up, and you're pretty locked in for the rest of this. And Egoists is starting to look like one of those teams.
Yeah, I mean, again, we saw Egoists, like they were in a hard deficit over on ship for the first half of defense, and then they figured it out and were able to respond in kind. Just weren't quite able to catch up as much as they needed to finish out that map, and they still lost 7-5. But we're seeing that adaptability and them understanding how Realm 1 plays and really taking advantage of it over here on Dam.
Yeah, I mean, we're already seeing this interest coming out from the Egoist players. Looks like we're seeing an adjustment actually on the Realm 1 NA side. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players on site. This is, I think, one of the first rounds, defensive rounds, we've seen a Realm 1 finally steal it back. Maybe not play as aggressive on the rumors, but we'll see if that is going to pay off for them. Just because you do it doesn't mean it is going to work out strategically for your team, right? Anyways, Ego is getting ready to push in on site. It looks like an incendiary goes in. It might be the no! Shogun somehow surviving just off of the edge of that incendiary.
That is luck if I've seen it. Shogun does have that EMP. Looks like he's going to go for the plant. The wall is open. Smokes are out. Musty is going to try and push out, but instead decides he's going to throw an instant and backs off. Avalon finding his first pick onto Shadow. As we see the first kill go down first round. D-Moon getting a kill onto Sam. There we go. The EMP is ready. Mobby covering Shogun as he gets the plant down. Sleepy gonna try and push, but goes right into gunfire. Mobby just cleaning up, keeping his buddy Shogun alive. Mobby grabs a third, and it is down to D-Moon in this 1v3. Mobby finishing it out, getting a nice 4K for the round.
Let me get this replay. Of course, we're going to glaze a little bit of Mobby at this point because they have been killing it last round, getting the 1K, almost goes in for the 2nd K, picks it up in the end there, finishing out the round for the Egoist players. And again, you know, we always say this, is it really glazing if they're performing that well? Because right now, Mobby is performing so well in his round. And again, this almost feels like night and day from the previous map, right? It was so close. It was so tense between the 2 teams, 7-5, but this is like a runaway win at this point with Egoist players.
I want to point out, Mobby is 13-1 right now. We haven't even swapped sides yet, and this guy is already in the double digits with 1 single death. He's just performing really well. Egoists are just executing very strongly on this map on their attack side. Every time they've got heavy roam clears. Even on that situation where Realm 1 was forced to play turtled onto site because of the battering that their lurkers were getting, Mobby was covering his guy as he was getting the plan. They've been able to get in and just get what they need done regardless of where the enemy has been. Egoist is looking great on this map.
I'm wondering, you know, should Realm 1 NA take the break after this map, because it feels like maybe it's a mental kind of thing going on. They've just been struggling to really get a good footing in this round. I mean, 5-0 right now is a pretty solid win right now for the Egoists. But that is to say, it's only them on attack, right? This could be a side difference. We've seen it happen before, where switching to sides is enough to really change up the game here. But anyways, looks like Rum 1 again adjusting those defensive plays, having 5 players on site. That frag goes in deep there. Gets a little bit of chip damage to Shogun. Not quite an S tier frag, but doesn't like a D8 tier frag, as it does get some good chip damage on the player. Another deep frag coming out there. And Shogun is taking frags to the face if I've seen it before.
Oh man, seeing that security wall blow is something that usually wasn't very common, but now we're seeing it utilized a lot more to clear out this hallway. Sam does find a frag, but Sleepy Fox finds a kill of his own. Shadow and Shogun both getting kills. As Shogun goes for the plant, Sam keeping him alive, 2 kills through the smoke, as Zeke finds his last also through that smoke. They just funneled right in and got absolutely demolished.
Yeah.
Good cover. Good cover.
I have this replay. You can see it. Sam gets the 2K through the smoke. I can't even see what's going on there. And somehow I have the spectator client, right? Wow, Shima, you're right. 6-0. Shout out.
They're playing extremely well right now, and Realm 1 can't adapt fast enough. They're checking, making sure that there are no lurks, and at this point, like, when you enter a site where people have been lurking, you have that man advantage, you will attack it differently than you will for a site that has a complete turtle. They picked up that Realm 1 that was turtling, and were just chucking util, making sure that it was forcing out people. And especially playing off those smokes. I love the position that Sam specifically sat in, where he just was in the corner, in the middle of the smoke, in a position where if you're the defense running through that that little gap stairwell, you're going to run into him, but you're not going to be looking for him. So he was just able to sit and prey on that.
Oh my goodness!
Don't forget, with a beautiful frag.
I was watching as he made the throw, and talk about perfect bounces as Avalon gets a pick up himself. Go for the swing. Unfortunately, not able to get the second K, but they do take a lot of damage on Sleepy Fox, and that is almost a pick. Never mind, they just got picked up in the end there by their teammate Sam, able to finish that one up here. But this is back and forth here. Shadow gets another pick, and this is what I'm talking about. This might be a side difference here, because this is looking again like another team here. They're playing so good. It's a 3v1 here.
It's interesting because this is not, as Musty finishes that out, this is not typically a heavy offense sided map. It depends on the floor, yes, on whether it's offense or defense sided, but I don't remember this map being so heavily offensive sided. Maybe it's just because so many people are playing in open areas, but we will see if maybe I am completely wrong and it is just an easy day on attack on Dam.
Maybe these teams, something to consider too, some teams are just better at attacking certain sites, or I'm gonna be quite honest, they just don't know it well on other positions. Looks like, dare I say, looks like both these teams might be really good at attacking and don't know the defensive side of Dam. I will say it can be complicated, right? You had talked about the wide open spaces, so playing a roamer on here is a little different than some other sites for sure. You know, versus like Skyscraper, we have those really tight hallways, but still long, but very tight hallways. And Dam definitely does give a different approach here, but I'm kind of curious, is it a side difference? Regardless of side difference or not, it's still a 6-0, you know, lockout in that first half. They just need one random round to work out. Worst case, they still have the overtime to fall back on.
That is true. That is true. However, Egoist just needs a single round. They just need to make one happen. And we do see that heavy entry. Some moderate buys coming out of the one as they start creeping up the hallway towards Model. Zeke and Simpleton Sam trying to find that one single entry that came out of bathroom, finding it and getting it down. Are they going to rotate over and take on all the Model people, or are these other three going to try and deal with it themselves?
Sam having a beautiful pick there. Yeah. Getting a Vezin and the frag coming out there, not quite landing where they needed to. This is going to be a very interesting start to the round here, as all players are all over the place here. Mapping him on the swing in the back end there. But this is still going to be a tight fight for these teams to really push off.
Ooh, it is just down to Musty. Can he make this happen? He is not, and Egoist is able to finish out 7-1. Excellent map control from Egoist. They really, really ran this one.
Yeah, I mean, standout performances from the Egoist players. You had meant, talk about definitive win. Almost a shutout, right? 7-1. Could have been a 7-0 if they played that pistol round just a little bit tighter here. But it looks like we will be going to a map 3, of course, here. So Egoist going to be winning this one out. But we will be going to ad breaks relatively soon here, and we'll see y'all in a couple of minutes as we'll see if any of these things go to break. I just wanted to come back in. It looks like the teams did confirm they're going to be going in for a timeout, so I'm going to leave a ad run. I'm going to leave the ad. We're going to go back to ads for about, I want to say like 8 minutes, and then we'll pull in pretty soon after that. But this is definitely a time. Take a little snack break, take a little water break. We are going to be taking a timeout for these two teams.
Prepare to start.
Only Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Excellent. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
Back from the much needed break. Looks like these teams are going to be coming in pretty soon here. And I mean, let's talk about the previous performance of these two teams. Realm 1 NA 7-5 for map 1, a very close and tense round. But Egoists, I think definitely a standout performance from them. 7-1 in that second one on a ship there, or sorry, dam. Was there anything that really stuck out to you seeing these last two map performances?
Egoists has slowly been turning up the heat, and they absolutely dominated on dam. I'm noticing that Egoists is able to adapt to how the other team is playing a little bit more than Realm 1 is, which is giving them an edge because they figured out from the first map, okay, Realm 1 kind of likes to lurk, and then they just absolutely punished Realm 1 for lurking on dam. And then once they had forced Realm 1 to that position where they had to start turtling sight, they switched it up, immediately responded in kind. You saw a lot less direct gunfight and cutoffs to util placements and positioning for a counter push. Egoist is just, they're very reactive. They're able to really adapt. Realm 1 though is not being a slouch. They ran a really good ship. I just do not think that they were prepared for dam to be such a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, again, they were so close. 7-5 just kind of goes to show how close that first map was. And then we kind of saw them struggle, I think, on that second map here with Dam. And I mean, not shocked. We saw some standout performances from players like Mabi, Simpleton Sam, 10-2 and 14-3. So some great picks coming out from those Egoist players here. And I'm kind of getting worried, right, for the Realm 1 players. Can they come back? Can they make this third round a little bit closer to what they had chosen? Checking out, I think it'll be interesting to see their map choice here. Factory is going to be the choice they have for this current round. It looks like the fifth player is not coming in for the Realm 1 players here, so they will be playing at a disadvantage, at least for the first couple rounds here. Hopefully we can get that fifth player in a little bit sooner here, but this is a map we're all going to recognize, as we have seen it time and time again. Factory is just one of those maps we have seen since the very beginning, and again, I always say the bread and butter of Breachers, right? It's been here since the beginning. It's been here since early access, and everyone has seen this map played 10 different ways at this point. I'm kind of shocked they brought it back, right? They brought it all the way back.
Hey man, Factory is not a bad pick. Sometimes you just need a palate cleanser, and if this was Realm 1's pick, I think this is the map that I would personally pick, especially with the way they're playing. They're playing with these lurks. They're playing with these off-angled entry denials, at least attempting to. This is a map that really caters to it. We do see an interesting setup, though. It looks like oh no, I take it back. It looks like we have a majority disconnect. They are going to set up for that B push. We just have one bot and two people not at their headsets at the moment.
Oh yeah, this is a rough start for the Realm 1 players. I don't know why they're playing so weird and wide. Looks like they might be baiting out a potential pick with Thomas, I guess is what's going on here with Shadow. As obviously Thomas the bot decides to full swing this, and it looks like all the Egoist players aware that someone's on the back here. Thomas getting a little stage fright though. It doesn't decide to run immediately in. Does get picked up by Mabi there. I mean, tours to the face by the bot is always going to work out in their favor there.
We do see Sleepy Fox and Mobby shooting it out, trying to get each other. Shadow comes in and gets him from the back, though. Don't forget also pushing in. That not very usual assembly line push absolutely works out for them as they're able to put Shogun down to a 1v4.
I don't know how this happened, but it happened. Shogun gets the pick there, goes for the 2K, gets the 2K. Shadow goes in for the swing here, trying to finish it up here. Doesn't, and they decide to swing back and get another round there. And that's going to be a round in the pocket for the Realm 1 players, but definitely interesting things going on in this game. We're seeing two bots on both sides here for the players. Sorry, one bot on both sides for the players here. So definitely a very funky round, I think, for both teams at this point. I'm wondering what's going on. I don't know. How'd you feel about that round, though? I wasn't sure if it was going to go the way of Realm 1 NA, but it did.
I didn't expect Realm 1 to actually get that one just because they had the disconnects and they also had the AFKs. But it ended up working out for them. They were just able to come by, wing out, and grab Mobby, which gave them the advantage, getting that top frag out so that they could just swarm.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get some more stand-up performances from these two teams here. But we're gonna be seeing a 4v4 today, as both teams having those disconnects. Unfortunately, it looks like subs are not able to come in here. But again, the subs, the bots are gonna be impacting them a little bit differently, right? When you have someone on defense, it's a little bit more advantageous, I think, having a bot versus the bot on the attacking side. And it looks like that doesn't matter as Realm 1 does pick up their 5th player at this point. So this is going to be giving them a slight advantage over the Egoists, and that's going to be a big deal, right? Because for Egoists, this is the time for them to really capitalize on having that defensive half and get as many points as possible when they can.
We do see them taking that standard orange push, checking locker to make sure that there's no early lurk on there. However, they would need to check deeper. D-Moon might actually run into Sam inside of Jen. Sam hears the break. D-Moon does not check and actually manages to Looney Tunes miss him, as all of round 1 has gotten their way onto orange. Musty picking up that first pick onto the bot.
Yeah, Sam playing that really deep roamer. They're playing kind of that sleeper agent role, not going anytime soon here, but they got to make some kind of movements because it looks like the Realm 1 players are starting to ramp up their attack here and get started. Shadow decides to go in for that bathroom push, does bait out. Avalon looks to trying to force them to get that pick pretty soon here.
All right, we do see that wall open. Nobody immediately pushing in. Shadow is actually going to work through gravel and see if he can find that carpet player. Sam does get his flank off and kills one. Will he be able to find the others? And nade does go out. Doesn't quite kill anybody yet, but it does put heavy damage. Sam drops to try and find Musty. Gets his first. Is he going to be able to find his second? D-Moon instead wins on Mobby, and Avalon takes down Shadow. Shogun finishes out, don't forget, and it is all down to D-Moon with a little bit of health on the hatch.
I mean, I didn't think this would go the way of Egoists, but they were able to turn this one around. And then now it looks like it's just down to D-Moon J with 20 health in hand here. I'm wondering, should they go in for the save at this point or still try to stick this? I mean, Sam has an Omen in hand, but they do have the health advantage. And, you know, having the all-roll, you're not going to be able to get that one shot, a headshot potential there. So it's not going to be a good advantageous thing. But 20 seconds left in the round. I'm almost curious, can Sam just run it? Oh, and they really draw it out from D-Moon there. Looks like they decide, let's play this one out here. But D-Moon's going to be running off side at this point and trying to get out of here as soon as they can. Yeah, that was a funny little dance we had seen.
The nice little juking out of Sam. D-Moon electing to keep that oral for the next round. Well, we see that ground has gotten back for Egoists, and they've gotten their footing. Finishing off 1-1, let's see what the buys are going to be like. Every team has a good amount of money. It's just, what are they going to utilize that on? Are they going to elect for more util and weaker guns, or are they going to go all in for guns? We see mostly SMG buys coming out from Egoist right now, with a little bit more of a catering towards rifles over from the Realm 1 side. We see a couple Vezins pop out. That oral we saw from last round, I take that back. Shadow did swap from a Vezin to an oral, electing for some util instead.
Yeah, it looks like the Realm 1 side playing a little bit more, I think, risky with their economy. But, I mean, they're getting assault rifles in hand. Not knowing that the Egoists will be playing a little bit more of an eco round, right? Having a lot more of those SMGs. I'm curious to see which team's gamble is going to pay off. Should you go more eco and play a little safer in terms of economy, or should you kind of risk it a little bit better, knowing that you'll have better guns overall here? And I will say Egoists, I think it does kind of make some sense, right? They're going to be on the advantage on defense, and they want to really lock in terms of economy for the upcoming rounds.
It's definitely a safe bet. It looks like we do have a 5th sub coming in. Freck, the original captain of Pantheon, a team that we have seen for multiple seasons prior, has subbed in for Egoist. He's electing for that. Cadillo looks like he's going to go for those long shots as he plays the machine table inside of A-site.
Is that how you pronounce the name? I thought it was always like Freak.
I've always called him Freck, and he's never said I said anything wrong. I've known this man.
I'm so curious. That's so interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. The more you know. Anyways, looks like they are coming in here on the blue side by vending machines here, getting ready. Oh, and Freak having beautiful, Freak, whatever, having beautiful shots, but looks like their feet are getting picked out right now from the Realm 1 players, but they will be getting ready for this push, I think, relatively soon here.
Freck managing to hold down one of my personal favorite spots. Unfortunately, Sleepy Fox does manage to get those wall bangs straight onto his head, pushing the man disadvantage for his Egoist. Util comes out, nothing quite found.
Sorry, great wall bangs, I think, coming out there from the Realm 1 players. I don't think Freck was expecting that and or ready for that. But I think Mabi is ready to throw in this incendiary pretty soon here. Sleepy Fox doesn't stick it, and it looks like the double incense coming out there, and it does pick up the player, but it's still going to be a slight disadvantage for the Egoists.
This economy play did not quite work out amazingly for Egoist. However, they are trying to salvage as best they can. However, 2 people extremely low health. A stim does get found by Avalon as he stims up, seeing if he can swing anybody down on the vending hallway. They're not quite finding anybody yet. D-Moon trying to play that corner, finds his first. He's going to try and find his second. Getting Avalon out in the open. Simpleton Sam sitting there with 4 health in a dream. Not quite able to find it as Shadow presses up.
Yeah, D-Moon really dancing around this corner here. Gets the 1K, gets the second pick in the end there. I don't think they were ready for that or expecting that. And it was just rough right there in the very end for the Egoist player. And, you know, you had mentioned this earlier. Unfortunately, the gamble did not pay off for the Egoist players. Playing a little too conservative, unfortunately, gave Realm 1 a little bit of an advantage in that previous round, enough to let them win out. And looks like they're going to be ahead in economy at this point here. And again, this is when Egoists need to lock in. This is them on defense. This is where they should be capturing the most amount of points as possible here. And Realm 1 is actually doing, I think, a pretty solid job on the attack.
Yeah, they've done so far very well. They're isolating out they're whittling down that manpower, not overly pushing, being overly aggressive. They're playing a little bit more careful. So far, they've been really effective. Dealing with Freck and getting him out of there when he had the strongest gun on the team. Excellent move. Really, really good wall bangs out of, I believe that was Sleepy Fox, right?
Yeah, something like that. I was kind of shocked, to be honest, to see the wall bang work so well for them there. But it looks like we'll be on the first side again. We're seeing some really deep roaming, probably clearing plays. Always don't forget picks off Avalon's head. And talk about flick shots there, because that was perfect for them. But we're seeing, you know, very, very tall attack from Realm 1. Looks like they are collapsing to now pushing the sword side pretty soon here. I'm surprised Musty didn't get any chip damage from that frag in the end, but looks like the lag kind of helping them out a little bit there, as some utility finally coming out from both sides here. Mavi taking a lot of chip damage there in the end. It looks like they're trying to shut down this hallway.
We do see this heavy storage fold as Freck is moved into Janitor, probably going to look for his pick that he can find. Shadow creeping right up into Shogun. Does not see him, does see him, gets the kill, also gets the second kill on Amabi, but a wallbang from Simpleton Sam manages to find him, putting Realm 1 in that heavy advantage that they need again. Freck looking to use his flank. Finds 1, finds 2, puts the man advantage down to even.
That's going to be a big deal. Does kind of expose their position, though. I wonder if Realm 1 can capitalize. Never mind, Freck got back to sight at this point. So it looks like Egoists are going to be in a slight advantage right now, holding down the Realm 1 players. The EMP does need to get planted pretty soon here, though. We're about a minute left in the round here. It's going to start coming to a head pretty soon here.
Freck and Sam just staying in position, trying to stay alive and run down. There's about 40 seconds remaining. The wall opens up. Don't forget tossing some foam over to Demon as he's going to go try and get that A wall. Well, don't forget, tries to find his pick. Freck and Sam both defending that B site, out of position for A. However, they did make the right call as that EMP is on the B side. Demon is probably going to flank around. Don't forget, does find his first pick, and Freck takes him down for it.
Yeah, unfortunate disconnect there in the end. That might have been a really solid attempt at holding
Yeah.
it down. But look at D-Moon J trying to figure out where they're at. Goes in for the swing. Frex goes in for the
Nicely
swing
done.
themselves. And, you know, one of those swinger gets swung moments, and they also knew exactly where they were. Let me see if I can get the replay in that previous round. We saw a great pick up from Freck in the end. They swung into that storage on the back in there. I don't think they were expecting it. But Freck able to get that 2K in the end, and that is what I think what really drove Egoists to potentially win out that round.
Yeah, no, he clutched that out with that good flank. It just their storage hold did not work well. They accidentally let somebody in that they should not have. You need something or someone watching that door at all times, because somebody can just crouch walk right in like that. However, Freck was able to hold it back for them and, you know, win out that round. Getting that nice 4K. Excellent little juke at the very end to finish it out.
I'm kind of heartbroken, right? I'm looking at the Egoist side. It's only 4 players, even with the sub, I think, coming in there. So it's going to definitely be challenging, I think, for them to win out this whole game in general. But if we keep seeing Freck potentially hard carry here, we might be able to still see them, you know, eke out a win in the... Never mind, I say that as if someone didn't just get picked back in here. So I'm going to stop talking, apparently, on that stuff, because you never know, as it looks like the 5th round is now coming to a head here. Nabi decides to go for the swing and talk about a run out there. Unfortunately, too big of a gamble, and they get picked off in the end. But that's going to be a rough start from the Egoist players.
Nice little pick. Getting that lurk out of orange is going to be very, very helpful for them, as they have that not only man disadvantage, they now know that top floor is more than likely secure. That frag finding some good damage onto Freck, but he does back off and get a little bit of health back.
Yeah, it's going to be a little challenging. 4-5 at disadvantage right now, but in terms of economy, it's a little bit more even between these two teams. Simpleton and Sam getting that shot off on Shadow in the back end there, as they could not get any value. That smoke is going to be zoning out any potential good shots coming out from them. Freck goes in for the deep incendiary. Doesn't quite get much damage in the end there. It looks like we'll be seeing a push develop pretty soon here from the realm 1 of players. Never mind, Shogun gets a pick, I think, from the outside.
Ooh, I believe somebody had pushed onto the window, but it looks like Avalon did get that kill right onto gravel as well. However, Simpleton Sam is extremely low, but 4v2, 4v1 as Shogun pushes right into Musty's face and takes him out. The last person, Sleepy Fox, remaining on that hatch, trying to make something work as bullets start flying his direction. And Simpleton Sam finishes it out for yet another round win for Egoist.
This is looking a little closer than I think the previous map now, right? This is feeling more like map 1, where they're a lot closer and going kind of head-to-head between these two teams here. And I'm wondering, is it just a map difference here? Is it potentially some of these subs coming in, right? We had seen so many bots, I think, at the beginning of the round. Maybe people just having problems with their headsets. But definitely a lot closer than that previous map.
Yeah, I think it's because it's factory. It's a map that every single team has played to death. Everybody knows how it plays. Everybody knows how it works. There's a lot less variables, as with Dam. Dam is a mystery to some teams, and some others, like apparently Egoists, have it pretty well figured out. But there is no well, we know factory better than them. We have better strats and better plays on factory. The map is not a mystery in itself.
No, I totally get that. It's, you know, I always say, what is it, factory and hideout are definitely those maps I consider as skill differentiators, right? Because you can't do too much different. Wow, as it looks like the bots fight each other. It looks like the attacking bot somehow winning that. I don't know what's going on with the people's headset right now, but it's not working out in their favor. As they lost, both sides have lost another player again. So it looks like it's going to keep happening. D-Moon J picking up a lot of chip damage there, but not a pick from that Egoist frag here. It looks like Realm 1 deciding to go for actually a push on the A side. I think that one bot might have thrown off the potential defenders on what was going to be happening here. There's so much chip damage coming out from all sides.
Freck making his run out, finds his first pick, running back in the smoke. Good utilization of cover. Shogun goes down to Shadow, but Freck takes his first pick, and he's looking to find Sleepy Fox next. Not quite able to find it as Shadow is able to come around and take Freck and Simple Sam out.
You know, something I saw earlier in the round, I don't know if you noticed, Shadow and Freck ran past each other in the smokes there. I don't think they were expecting that. Avalon goes for the pick, goes in for the second, but it doesn't matter. Sleepy Fox able to come back and refrag that one, unfortunately. And it's going to be a 3-3. This is a tie. Dare I say, I think Realm 1's in a little slight advantage, right? Them going on their own defense now, having an even set against Egoists, right? I would definitely consider them more likely to win out this half. But again, we don't know how Egoists can play on the attacking half here. They might be able to play a little bit better, but it's looking like it might be Realm 1's game at this point.
I mean, I've played with Breck enough to know that he is a solid attacker when it comes to Factory. This is going to really, really help out Egoist as they are in that attacking half, and especially that man disadvantage is going to extremely hurt for Realm 1. If they can play their cards right and don't throw away lives, if they can play their attack as clean as they did for Damn, Egoist is in a great position to take the map.
You're right. Player disadvantage. What is going on right now? I mean, I'm wondering if it's headsets. I'm wondering if it's availability. I'm wondering, you know, what's causing these teams. But, you know, dare I say that's not the only... Having a good team is not the only problem you need to have in VRML. It's also being able to make sure that your teams all show up on time and still perform well and have the right mental capacity to do so. And that's one of the hardest things I think about running a competitive team.
It's always a challenge. Organizing the team is one of the hardest parts. Availability, especially, and making sure that people have their headsets charged, that is always obnoxious. But we do see that early hatch drop, a little bit of damage getting found on Shogun, but nothing dangerous. As they open up the wall, frags come out, but Shogun might eat that frag, but he finds two and he tanks the frag. Freck accidentally killing Shogun, though, and Simpleton Sam going down to D-Moon, and there are kills going out all over. Shadow pushing up, pushing this down into a 1-1. Shadow having the disadvantage as Mobby runs back through to try and get that EMP over by A site.
Yeah, these players accidentally just ran a circle around each other. This is going to be coming down to timing here. Shadow, now aware of what's going on, goes in for the run. Can they get Mabby? I've seen Mabby do a great job with this Taurus, so it's going to come down to timing at this point. They go in for the tap, and I'm waiting to see, does Mabby know what's going on here?
Not quite. It looks like Shadow's going to keep trying to bait that, but he is going to start his way up the stairs. Is Mobby going to be prepared for this? Not quite. He's still checking the hatch, waiting for that. He drops down to avoid any sort of gunfight on that orange hallway. Shadow panicking, trying to figure out where the heck Mobby went, running his way around, and Mobby barely makes that out with 1 health, but gets the headshot.
Oh, man.
Nice shoot.
I was wondering, how was it going to... Oh, no! The trip mine takes them out in the end. Oh! You know, bittersweet ending there, but I guess it doesn't matter, right? They just had the Taurus in hand. Let me see if I can pull up that replay, right? We had seen Shadow, I think, be so vital in that round for allowing a potential for the Realm 1 players to win out. They got the pick on the top. It goes in for the pick. Decides to run in on that staircase and gets that 2K in the end there, and that was gonna be a big deal in allowing that 1v1 situation in the very end there. But tough. I gotta give credit honestly to the Egoist players. I think they detected, hey, I think someone's gonna be coming up the staircase, I'm gonna run down the hatch, and that was a very, very, very smart thing to be doing from them. You know, it didn't quite work out in the end. I mean, it did work out in the end. They won, but it was very close. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little too close for my taste.
Yeah, frankly, I was expecting him to just wait and watch for the push up the stairs and utilize that Taurus long range and 1-tap headshot potential. But he just said, screw it, I'm going to play Ring Around the Rosie and just eat up the time. I love watching that happen.
Yeah, I think definitely a smart play, right? Because I always think worst case, even if you died, you at least made it impossible for them, or at least very hard for them to get the defuse in time, right? And definitely a smart thing to do if you want to really maximize your potential for winning out that round, right? And definitely good play there in the end. But again, we are coming into this upcoming round. Looks like the Realm 1 players does pick up that other one. Hopefully they don't lose another player. It's been happening time and time again in this current map for both sides at this point. But it looks like they are Egoists getting ready for this setup pretty soon here.
Ooh, Shadow just sitting in that smoke. Is he gonna find a pick? No, Mobby reads him instead. All right, let's see how Egoist is going to open up this wall. D-Moon and Sleepy ready. Oh, unfortunately, Sleepy has disconnected. This is just not their round. Oh, looks like he is back. No, he is lagging extremely hard. D-Moon trying to fight that off as Mobby finds another pick over in Walkers. Avalon getting ready to plant, sitting there low health. Sleepy Fox goes down to an incendiary, still disconnected. D-Moon finds his pick on a Freck and onto Mobby, but Avalon and Shogun close it out.
Oh,
This
man,
is some bad luck.
I know it makes me sad because to me, I always hate that sort of stuff. I feel bad for the teams, right? It's kind of demoralizing to kind of win or lose, right? To very, very weird situations like losing a player or two, right? But this is what we talked about earlier. That's kind of one of the hardest parts about VRML. It's making sure your team shows up, they have their headsets, batteries ready, and all that sort of things. And I gotta say, like that's a credit to the team that's able to manage through and do as well as they can. Because at the highest level, we see it happen all the time where these teams can consistently get these players to show up on time and field everybody. So definitely heartbreaking to see. But Egoists 5-3. Momentum is starting to look like it's going to be shaping up on their side here. So I'm wondering, can we see Realm 1 really hold out with that 4-player disadvantage at this point? Or this might be going the way of Egoists at this point.
Well, we will see. This is getting down to do or die time right now for Realm 1. And it's really, the game is very, very adamant on not working in their favor. However, we do finally have a disconnect over on Egoist's side, and Mobby gets found by a beautiful nade. Shadow getting getting a trip mine kill right onto Shogun. They are not letting people into this storage area. Immediately 2v5. This is the life that they needed.
I don't know what happened for the Egoists in this current round here, but things definitely went the exact opposite direction here. I'm wondering, is this even a salvageable round? 2-5. Here's the thing, they barely stepped into the map, and they already lost. Well, I say 2 players because one of them was a bot and their team just killed them. But already losing 2 players. Oh man, talk about utility being against the Egoists. And I'm really seeing, it looks like someone's hand is really shaking here. I'm wondering if they're just really nervous or I don't know what's going on. It looks like, let me see if I can show this on cast here. Like, I don't know if their hand's just really twitchy or what's going on here. Or maybe because it's one-handed.
Who is it on?
It's Simpleton Sam. Sorry. I try not to laugh at people, and especially if it's a medical condition, because then I feel really, really bad. But it is a little comedic.
Oh no, he's messing with it. No, he's messing with it. Oh wait, no, it looks like he does have hand tremors. I also have to deal with the same thing. I know how annoying that can be.
Oh dang, now I feel bad. Anyways, looks like Freck able to get that shot off on D-Moon J, but don't forget able to knock out Simpleton Sam. This is gonna be coming down to a 4v1. This is gonna have to be a John Wick moment as they somehow dodge all the bullets and decide to go in on Sleepy. Get the pick. This is now a 1v2 situation. Somehow Freck able to survive and win this one. No, oh, and Shadow in the perfect spot there, but I was cheering for them because that would have been a crazy 1v4 clutch if they had been able to manage that one.
Yeah, that would have been really fun to see. That I love watching clutches, and I wanted to see my buddy Freck be able to do it, but it does not look like that was in the cards today. Just 1v4s are difficult. They're very difficult to work your way out of.
Who knew? Having to take on 4 or 5 different people at once is a little hard. But it looks like they did pick up their player again. I can't keep saying that because they keep losing and gaining players. This looks like a game of who can maintain the roster the best. That's how it's starting to feel like right now for this current map here. But Egoists again, 5-4, so they do have that advantage, and it's looking like they could make something of this. The economy is kind of split between both sides. Both sides, I see 4 full buys and an SMG. So I think literally an exact kind of almost a mirror matchup between both these teams. Looks like the Viper is going to be the SMG of choice on the Realm 1 side here. But Egoists, I'm wondering, can they make this work out?
We'll see. They've got a decent setup so far. Looks like they're going to spread out, take some gen control, and then also your orange hallway as normal. Oh, it looks like we are not actually going to get that gen control. I thought I saw Simpleton Sam moving towards it. That does not appear to be the case. We do have that default orange hallway, though. And Splash peeks out and finds Shogun. That is an unfortunate way to begin the round, but great pick from Splash as he sets up for a possible second. Can Mobby read this?
Oh, I'm wondering if Splash is going to read it. No, they decided to peel off here, and I was expecting them to get another pick, to be quite honest. We'd seen them play that so well here, but Splash coming up the staircase here, and it looks like Shadow. Again, this aggressive defense is working so much better on Backbeat. Oh, a Salmon Frag getting a shot off on both roamers, and that's going to be vital picks, allowing them to really push forward onto the side of this point.
Yeah, Factory does cater a lot more to those aggressive peek outs and those aggressive roams and lurks. It's a lot more achievable than on Dam, just because of the way the maps are designed. We do see that wall open, though. Util raining out. Sleepy Fox narrowly missing, dying to an instant, but instead dies to Freck's gun as he takes out Don't Forget as well. The last man alive, Demon J. Can he take on Avalon? He does not. Avalon finishes that out, puts them onto match point.
I mean, I got a beautiful replay here. Let's pull it out real quick. Freck on the back end there, having just snuck in. I think with so much sound going on, no one noticed or heard them coming in the air. But Freck getting the 1-2K in the end there. And talk about switch up for that round, allowing Egoists again to get another point in the way. But now it's coming down to brass tacks. I mean, 6 and 4. We're getting really close. We're on match point at this point for both teams. And Egoists are the ones that have the advantage at this point. But again, this is Realm 1. They're on defense. If they're going to be able to come back, it's going to be now.
This is do or die time for them. They do not have a solid buy. They do not have the guns for this specific map. I take that back. I say that, and then suddenly a couple Omens and a couple Vezins appear. They have a better chance now. This is
an Omen, an RCP, and a Dream, man.
Two Omens, an RCP, 2 Vezins, and hopefully a lot of luck, because they're up against 5 stacked Vezins and all the util that Egoists could ever want. This is playing out heavily towards their favor, but maybe they can make something happen. We've seen worse odds work out.
I have seen people win with Spectrals against Vezins. I remember when Spectrals always, don't forget, knocks out Mobby on the very back end there. It looks like they were not expecting that player to be ready in there, but that's going to be great for them in terms of their economy. Getting another, I think it was a Vezin in hand, and that's going to be a big pick for them again. But 4 and 5, looks like Egoists already down a player. They got to do something to really make this one work out, because now they're on the back heel.
Do some heavy damage from Freck onto Sleepy Fox. Not quite able to find the kill, however. As the wall goes out, Shogun almost getting caught out. EMP going into an Ensign. That is unfortunate. However, it looks like it is going to get recovered by Avalon, and Freck is going, or the foam got recovered, and Freck is going to recover the EMP. But goes down to Shadow. The refrag comes out from Shogun. We are at 3-4. There goes Cubby Hatch. Is he going to find the trip, or is Avalon going to run into it? Shogun finding Sleepy Fox, bringing that down to an even 3-3.
Yeah, looks like it's 3 and 3. These teams are going to be tight at this point. D-Moon J going in for the swing on the back end. We'll see if we can get some value here. While this defense is getting ready. Oh, as the deep frag goes in there, knocks out Avalon. That's going to be a great pick for them, preventing that EMP from sticking there. But Shogun coming in there. Oh, and that's a talk about a clutch up moment, as that's a beautiful pinch from both sides on those Egoist players. 6 and 5. You know, they were down in terms of economy now, but they have several Vezins in hand. But it doesn't matter, it looks like, because the Egoist players have a lot of cash in reserves.
Gotta give it though. Like that was originally probably not going to go in their favor just based off the buys, but Realm 1 was able to make, or sorry, yes, Realm 1 was able to make it work, utilize what they had, and just were able to say, no, this is our site. We're not out of the running yet.
We are not, but this is a pretty even matchup, right? Both teams having Vezins in hand, and it's kind of going both ways. I don't know who I expect to win at this point, right? Egoists have been having a great game, and so is Realm 1, right? Both teams playing very, very well to their own strengths. I'm tempted to give Realm 1 the advantage because they are defending.
This specific site is a lot more catered to the defender, depending on whether they decide to hold storage or not. It looks like we see Sleepy Fox kind of entertain the idea of holding storage, but it looks like he probably is going to back out once the push comes in. Splash does have that. Oh, he's going to go all the way for a possible run out. No, he's instead doubling back to try and support his team. We see the entry coming in from Egoists as they take control of storage. Don't forget, immediately beaming Freck and Splash finding Shogun. Avalon gets the return onto 2 people. Brings the man advantage even as, don't forget, finds Avalon.
2 and 3 is still a salvageable round, but that EMP is down right now. It's going to be looking a little complicated, I think, for the Egoists on how do they retake this at this point. Navi trying to throw in so much utility, hoping to get a pick there. And yeah, but it doesn't look like it's going to be it. They throw in a Vezin maybe to throw off one of the players here. As don't forget, it's hiding in the smoke here. Are they going to be able to pick up a player? No! Sam picks him up. And it's now a 2v2 here. Splash picking up a little bit of splash damage, chip damage. Not splash damage, chip damage. Looks like they are going to be getting ready for this setup pretty soon here. They're going to have to coordinate this perfectly. Otherwise, the Realm 1 defense, I think, is going to be able to run away with this.
It is possible, but this is not out. This is a pretty even matchup. All Vezins, all Stims. This is gonna be a slugger. But Sam does find Splash. Can they finish it out and find D-Moon to win the map?
Again,
Looks
this
like
is match
Mobby
point.
is gonna go for that plant.
Yeah, this is match point. D-Moon has to go in for the swing here. Sam gonna be waiting in that corner here. This is gonna be tight. D-Moon has to play this as perfectly as you could possibly think. If they decide to go for the... Oh, they see the pick on the right. They see Mobby go in for the run. They decide to almost swing out. They pick it up in the end. And somehow D-Moon scrapes together a win for the Realm 1 players. What happened there?
Oh, just better swinging, I guess. He played that well. There wasn't necessarily any sort of heavy advantage he had on that. He just swung harder. He just swung harder and hit his shots a little bit more.
Swing or get swung, right? Swing or get swung.
True story. And here we are, Martini, overtime.
Let me swap those teams. Looks like we are going to be in overtime. And it looks like Egoists are going to be choosing to play on the defensive side here. Definitely, I think, the more favored side. I think we saw them perform a little bit better on the defensive side. Right? No, I guess it was 3 and 3, so it was pretty even, right?
Yeah. So far, this has been neck and neck. It looks like neither team having a strong advantage over the other. This isn't the sort of lockout that we saw map 2, and it's not quite leaning one way like it was map 1, but these teams are just slugging it out despite all the problems that Realm 1 has been having with player retention, disconnects, etc., etc., etc. They are just still hanging on with a death grip, wanting that win.
Here we are, overtime. I love a good overtime, and I'm so happy they implemented overtime, I think, in this season. Someone decides to flash their friends for fun. That's a great start to the round. Maybe that's what they needed, just a little bit of a push. To get kicking in this round here. Looks like Frack can be playing very aggressive, holding out this corner. Hopefully, Utility does not come in there and kill them. Never mind. They decide to go for the swing, get the pickup from Splash there, and that is going to be a great start for Egoists, already up a player.
Nice little corner tuck by Freck and working right off that sound to get an opening pick. It looks like we have movement into ending. Wallbang's coming out. Nothing quite finding anything yet. Freck playing that position he's played every time this round has cut. D-Moon looking to see if he can find any corner picks, but nothing quite yet. Incendiary goes out, does not quite find where it needs to. Gets a little bit of damage on Mobby. However, Mobby will be up again shortly.
Yeah, looks like Breach finally coming out here from the Realm of One players, but Incendiary is going to be cutting out of that push anytime soon here. As it looks like they are going to be committing to this A side. I'm waiting to see on the back end there. Simpleton Sam gets the pickup. Don't forget, they decide to swing it as they do pick up another Mobby. Now leaving down to Shadow and D-Moon J. As Shadow somehow surviving the shots through the smoke. And the time is ticking down here. Only a minute left in the round here. It looks like D-Moon decides, let's swing it. As Shadow and D-Moon now fighting for their lives in order to win out this round.
This 2v5 scenario, it's very do or die. This is a tough position that Demon and Shadow gotta figure out, especially being on half health. It's not a good time. Simpleton Sam trying to challenge Shadow and wipe him out. No picks found yet. Let's see who runs to each other first. Shadow gets some damage, gets the first kill. Mobby trying to get that refrag, doesn't quite find it. Freck sitting in position just in case they decide to swing. And Shadow finds Freck, but Mobby finds Shadow. 1v3, can D-Moon pull off the big ask?
Clutch of the century at this point. 1v3, we've seen Egoists play so well in this round, getting some early picks here. It looks like D-Moon J now exposed in their position. 12 seconds left, they gotta go for it. And there's nothing else they could have done at that point. The time was ticking down. And talk about a win from the Egoist players. I mean, that was an action-packed round, if I've seen one, Shimi.
Yeah, no, that was a hard ask. Just losing those people so early, it screwed over any chance for Realm 1. They did try and pull it back as best as they could. Some of those flicks from Shadow were instantaneous and amazing. But just not enough. Just not quite enough.
I mean, we saw, I think, several times in this game, right, standout players from both sides. Mobby, I think, for a couple rounds. Obviously, Freck as a great sub coming in here for the Egoists. But Realm 1, I mean, we saw Shadow, don't forget, time and time again, do so many good numbers for their teammates here. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough in the end. But talk about close round, right? 7-5 on map 1, 7-6 for map 3 here. Egoists really forcing this into a map 3, and that's a great win there in the end. Before we sign off today, though, I do want to give a shout out to the creators on the VRML team, and of course the mods. If you ever want to get involved with what we do behind the scenes, which is creating content, casting games, or helping with moderation, we're always accepting applications for more volunteers. So please head over to the Breachers VRML server and submit an application if you're interested. And also remember, this applies for every game in the league. So if you want to cast and or do production or mod for Veil, Orion Drift, for PAV, for whatever game that we currently have, you can always do that with VRML. Anyways, that is going to be it for us today. If you do want a little bit more Breachers, there is another cast going on right now being headed, I believe, by Plague Doctor and Old Gravy. It's going to be between Valiance and Ritual on the same channel, of course. So definitely go give them some love over there and say that you came from the Egoists and a Realm 1 game, of course. But thanks for coming out and watching another VRML Breachers cast. We appreciate seeing y'all here today. And of course, remember to subscribe and leave a like. It's greatly appreciated. Hopefully we can see y'all in the next cast.
VRML is brought to you by Helga, the esports manager, Triangle Factory. Thanks for watching VRML.